I think she would be sad. I think she'd be looking at it long term to know that there are certain things that we need to go through to be able to heal the relationship. I have felt the presence of my mum more so in the last 2 years than I have in the last 30.
Okay, y'all, this one's wild. So apparently, Harry tried to slide back into royal life with just a letter. Now, what was the letter about? Well, Harry was asking if he could attend a major event, the King's Foundation gathering. And this wasn't just any royal get-together. This event is huge. It's where the monarchy shows off its influence. Royals, world leaders, celebs, all in one room. There would have been a perfect moment for Harry to show he's still connected, still willing to serve in some way. But instead of a warm welcome or even a polite decline, he got hit with a strong no. Not even a let's talk about it, just silence at first, then rejection. And let's be clear, this wasn't about space or security. According to royal insiders, this was a deliberate move. The king didn't hesitate. There wasn't a discussion, no back and forth. Just one word behind palace doors, no. That's it. For Harry, this wasn't just about showing up at a fancy event. This was him trying to reconnect, trying to find his place again. And Charles didn't just shut the door, he locked it. And that's when things went from awkward to icy real quick.
I can't tell you how much I sympathize with the way everybody has had to endure this unbelievably testing and challenging time.
So get this. Sources say King Charles didn't even think twice. Like for real, Harry sends this letter quietly asking to attend the King's Foundation event, probably thinking, maybe this could be a turning point. Maybe this is how he starts patching things up with the family. But nope, the king didn't take a minute. Didn't sit down with aides, didn't weigh the pros and cons. It was an immediate no. Now, I know some of y'all might be thinking, okay, maybe Charles was just busy. Maybe the event was already too full or something, but this wasn't that. The guest list was stacked, and we'll get into that in a bit, but the point is, he wasn't too busy. He made room for plenty of other people. Insiders said the response to Harry's letter was firm and final. That's a direct quote. And what really had people's eyebrows raised was that one line from a palace aide. And now the king sees no reason to reward betrayal with visibility, because that word betrayal says a lot about how the palace still sees Harry. It's not just about the Netflix doc or the Oprah interview or even the memoir. It's all of it, one thing after another that painted the royal family in a rough light. And now with this event being such a big deal, Charles wasn't about to let Harry show up and change the energy. See, this wasn't a moment for family bonding. It was a power event. The kind where the monarchy shows who's in, who's trusted, who's part of the future. So to Charles, letting Harry in wasn't just a yes to a guest, it would have been a symbolic move. And clearly, that's not the message the palace wanted to send. Okay, but here's the thing. It wasn't just about saying no. It's who he said yes to that made headlines.
I would love reconciliation with my family. There's no point in continuing to fight anymore. As I said, life is precious. I don't know how much longer my father has. He won't speak to me because of this security stuff. But it would be nice to reconcile. As I learned through the First Nations throughout Canada, because of the Invictus Games, their goal in life was always truth and reconciliation. And I turned around to them in many conversations and I said, right, but reconciliation can't come without truth. Well, I've now found out the truth. I've shared some of it with you today. A lot of it exists out there, whether people choose to ignore it or not. So it would be nice to have that reconciliation part now. If they don't want that, that's entirely up to them.
Y'all, the event wasn't some quiet tea party. This was the King's Foundation event, and if you don't know, this is like the royal version of a red carpet. Think big-name donors, world leaders, top-tier royals and celebrities who basically live at the top of the PR food chain. The whole royal squad showed up. Prince William was there, obviously. He's next in line. Princess Anne came through. Camilla was front and center. Even Zara Tyndall got a seat. Now remember, Zara isn't a working royal. She doesn't have official duties. She doesn't represent the crown on a day-to-day basis, but she still got an invite. And then you've got people like David Beckham, Kate Winslet. These aren't random guests. These are public figures who are known for keeping things classy and professional. Their names carry weight. They were invited to help reinforce the image of dignity, tradition, and trust. So yeah, the fact that Harry's name wasn't on the list, that wasn't just a missed invite, it was a message. And what's got people whispering is this: if even non-working royals got in, what does that say about how far Harry's fallen from the royal inner circle? Let's be real, this wasn't just about not inviting Harry. This event was about the crown making a statement. It was about showing who's still in the room when it matters. Because the King's Foundation event isn't just a party, it's about legacy, about the monarchy's future. And when you look at who was there and who wasn't, it's clear the palace is curating an image: loyalty, duty, stability. That's the narrative. Sources close to the palace even said the guest list was carefully chosen to reflect who the crown trusts moving forward. And yeah, Harry didn't make the cut. That says a lot. But while Harry was over here trying to step back in, it looks like someone else has already started stepping back away.
Now I know so much, and I'm so glad I didn't then, because I could just authentically be myself without so much preparedness.
While all this back and forth with Harry and the palace was happening, Meghan was silent. She didn't back the request, didn't show support, didn't even show up. People close to the couple have said she's been laser focused on her own thing, business deals, content plans, branding moves, basically building her own image outside of all the royal drama. And listen, I get it. Some of y'all might be thinking maybe she just didn't want to get involved. Maybe she was trying to keep the peace, and fair point. But let's look at the bigger picture for a second. When your husband is writing to his father, asking to attend a major event, and you don't even stand beside him for that, not even quietly support it behind the scene, that's not just avoiding drama. That's a conscious move. This isn't like a small family disagreement. This is about his spot in the royal world, his identity. And for Meghan to not be part of that effort says a lot. Some insiders even believe she didn't co-sign the request at all, that she might have thought it wasn't worth the trouble. And let's not ignore the timing. Meghan's been working on new projects, creative stuff, brand partnerships, digital content ideas, all very calculated, very polished, like someone who's already moved on. She's not fighting the battle anymore. Maybe she doesn't even see it as worth fighting. But Harry, he's clearly still holding on to the idea that maybe, just maybe, there's a way back in. And speaking of timing, the vibe in Hollywood is shifting too. Let's be honest. When Harry and Meghan first stepped back from royal life, they were everywhere. Oprah's interview was explosive, the Netflix docuseries was trending globally, the Spotify podcast was a huge deal. They were in demand and people couldn't stop talking about them. But now that glow up is starting to fade. Spotify ended their deal. Reports say Spotify wasn't happy with the output and that only a few episodes were delivered compared to what they were expecting. Netflix was still there for now, but word is they're not rushing to extend or greenlight more Sussex content. They've backed off a bit, especially with the public interest dipping. And then there was that one quote from a PR insider that said he came in as royalty, but he's becoming tabloid. That's tough because that's the exact thing Harry didn't want. The brand they built was all about controlling their narrative. But when you're not bringing in fresh content or your name is attached to too much drama, Hollywood starts backing away. Quietly, but definitely. So what happens when the royal title fades and the Hollywood spotlight moves on? It puts Harry in a tough spot, especially when you realize that behind the scenes, he was also asking about security for that event. That's right. Along with the request to attend, Harry brought up safety, which makes sense. He's a high-profile figure. He has a family. He's had security concerns before. But the palace? They shut that down quickly. No role, no protection. That's what insiders are saying. And it's not even personal, it's just policy. If you're not working as a royal, you don't get access to the same benefits. That includes bodyguards, travel security, all of it. And before anyone says that's harsh, look, It's how the system works. Royals on duty get security covered because they're representing the crown, but Harry stepped back, so from the palace's view, that's it. To Harry, though, that stings, because security's been a sensitive topic for him ever since he left the UK. He's talked about feeling unsafe, about how his family can be targeted, so asking for coverage to attend this event wasn't just a throwaway request, it meant something. But again, the answer was no. No invite, no protection, no exceptions. And y'all, it's not just about events and security, there's bigger stuff that's about to come.
I don't think that we can ever have peace with my family unless the truth is out there.
So word on the royal street is that there's been quiet talk about Harry's titles. Now, nothing official has been announced, but insiders say the conversation has definitely started, and honestly, that's a big deal. Because once the titles are gone, that's not just a snub, that's like cutting the last thread between Harry and the royal family. Let's not forget, he still holds the Duke of Sussex title, technically, and even though he stepped back from working royal duties, the titles stayed, mostly because removing them would have caused even more drama back then. But now, after this event snub and the way things have been playing out, royal watchers are saying this could be step one in a much bigger plan to fully separate. The king not inviting him wasn't just about one event. It might have been the beginning of a more permanent distancing. And if they go as far as stripping his titles, that sends a loud, clear message. This chapter is over. Look, this whole thing isn't just about one event, it's about where Harry actually fits now, or if he even fits at all. Because Meghan focused on her own brand, King Charles making moves to distance the crown from the drama, and Hollywood not rolling out the red carpet like they used to, is really giving new chapter energy. And that's where the big question is, can Harry actually build something brand new for himself, something not tied to the palace? Or is he still holding on to the hope that the royal door might swing back open one day? Alright, sound off in the comments. Was King Charles too harsh? Or is this just Harry facing the consequences of walking away? I want to know what you think. See y'all in the next video.